As intent-based systems mature, when do you think users will realistically be able to opt into privacy for their on-chain orders? And how important is that capability for Carbon's long-term vision?
Yeah, it's a terrific question. So obviously privacy is an extremely important aspect to the emerging blockchain narrative, not just systems like Cody, although I do think Cody's privacy preserving features are among the best, but it's not the only sort of privacy aligned blockchains. There are things that are looking at ZK branded privacy and other sort of on-chain, off-chain hybrids to achieve privacy. The thing you need to appreciate about an order book style pattern, which is what Carbon represents, an abstraction of an order book. The issue is if you make the stuff people are creating orders with private, then there is no discoverability for those things. So for example, imagine we create a private eBay where we obfuscate who the seller is, what the item for sale is, and what its price is. That would be sort of the privacy preserving, garbled nature of using Cody's features. The issue there is if people are browsing eBay looking for things to buy, when they come across this mystery item, they don't know what the item is or how much it costs to buy it, let alone who they're trading with. And I don't think that is going to work simply because the thesis behind Carbon is that you have to broadcast your advertisement. The prices and objects you're trading with need to be published to the blockchain and readable so people can discover them. Where privacy becomes more important is, for example, people who might want to obfuscate the origin of the address whence that initial transaction came. So not necessarily the prices or the tokens that are being offered, but at least who is offering those tokens and at the prices they're asking. Similarly, people who are taking that market, so people who want to interact with Carbon not as an order setter, but as the person who's actually browsing the market looking to make a trade, they may also want to obfuscate the fact that their address has participated in such and such a transaction. So we've discussed with Cody that nothing about privacy should be conflated with criminal intent or anything else. There are a million legitimate reasons why people might want to hide the kinds of actions they're taking for purely legitimate reasons. So I do think it's important. The trick is going to be how to specifically decompose those elements of what Carbon offers and compartmentalize the things that we might want to keep private from the things that we absolutely cannot keep private because it effectively breaks the entire exchange mechanism. It is something I'm constantly thinking about. There are even Carbon adjacent products. So rather than Carbon as users know it today, rather new features that we could add into that same sort of exchange category that can make use of especially the garbled circuits that Cody has to achieve a different type of price discovery, a fundamentally different type of exchange primitive. That's the answer that I want to lean into. Rather than retrofit an existing product that didn't have information obfuscation as an assumption, it would be better to build a dedicated product that has that kind of information obfuscation at its core in a meaningful sense. So not just transaction obfuscation and identity preservation and that kind of thing, but a completely different kind of asynchronous market participation that actually requires people's bids and asks to actually be hidden from view until the conclusion of the sale. This leads very heavily into things like auction theory and other things. There is a very compelling application for privacy in those kinds of products. I don't necessarily like the idea of retrofitting it directly into Carbon as is. In general, I don't like retrofitting stuff. I would prefer to build a product from the ground up with a specific feature or assumption as a part of the design process. That is something that is in our future. I'm not sure exactly when it will be, but some aspects of the privacy is more achievable than others. I'm reluctant to commit to any hard deadlines simply because we have already an enormous product catalog in the pipeline that we need to get through. Privacy aspects are certainly featured inside that catalog. It's just a question of prioritization.